Hello everyone, it's your boy GZTV back with my final video I have for you guys for the day. We have Black Mirror's season 3 episode 6, I believe it's the last episode of season 3. We have Hated in the Nation. So, yeah, we're getting into the plot, the critical reception, details like that, and then yeah, it's gonna be the last content of the day. I'm gonna be watching Ozark, I'm gonna be watching the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and yeah, that's gonna be it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, before a public inquiry, London Detective Chief Inspector Karen Park, played by Kelly MacDonald, who looks really good for being 40 something, by the way, explains her role investigating the death of Joe Powers, played by Elizabeth Barrington, a controversial far right journalist found dead after writing a widely condemned column that derided a self immolating disability rights activist. So yeah, so it's pretty much like the cancel culture. Like they're kind of playing on that concept a little bit. It's really interesting episode. A whole lot of social commentary on like what happens when someone says something wrong in society or does something wrong, yada yada yada. And yeah, it's really cool. See how all the characters on the social media in this show kind of react to it. So Park works with trainee detective constable Blue Coulson, played by Faye Marsay, and Nick Shelton, played by Joe Armstrong. Powers' hospitalized husband claims that she cut her own throat with a wine bottle, and they think at first, well, how the fuck could that be possible? Like, it doesn't really make sense. By the way, this is an hour and a half. This is literally like a short film, like maybe even like a full-on film. Park and Coulson talked to a primary school teacher who sent Powers a cake with fucking bitch iced on it. She tweeted hashtag death to at Joe Powers writer, but denies violent intent. When you say death to someone, you probably like you can't say, "Oh, dude, it's a joke." I don't think you can just play that off as a joke realistically. But then we realize why she did that. There's like a whole social media movement going on in this movie, this short film, whatever. Yeah. So the next day, the rapper Tusk, played by Charles Babalola, attacked on social media after insulting a child fan, has a seizure and dies in an MRI machine as its magnetic field pulls a metallic object out of his brain through his eye socket. And you see these bees flying around at the beginning of the movie, and then you start to realize, well, these bees have these little chips in them that where they're manipulated to go through someone's brain, and it hits the pain lobe, and then goes through pain, and then that magnet obviously pulled it out of Tuska's head, which probably was the best possible outcome for him, I guess you could say. So the object is an autonomous drone insect, an AEI, which is another one of those like futuristic concepts that the show came up with, like insects that are just drones. Created by Granular, deployed by the government to replace near extinct bees, which could be as possibly extinct species in the near future. That's not super unrealistic. An ADI is found in Power's brain also. Park and Coulson talked to Rasmus Schoberg, played by Jonas Carlson, at Granular, and find an ADI with odd behavior. So they have to. This is like the guy that pretty much programmed it, and he like runs all this shit. Sean Lee, played by Benedict Wong, begins work on the case on behalf of the National Crime Agency, the NCA. So, Coulson finds hashtag Death2 was started by spam bots posting a Game of Consequences video where the most mentioned person with the hashtag each day will be killed, which is super fucked up. I don't know why anyone on social media would ever support this. It's pretty much like everyone on social media hiring a hitman to kill this person that did something controversial. Like, okay, big whoop. So, currently at the top at the time in the episode is Clara Meads, played by Holly Dempsey, who posed for an inappropriate photo at a war memorial. Like, some of the things that these people get caught with, it is just super unrealistic. Like, why the fuck would you even think about doing some dumb shit like this? Like, especially in today's society. I know this show was filmed a little bit ago, maybe like 2015, 2016, but yeah. Meads is taken to a safe house. Granular to lose control of all ADIs which surround the house. Like, this person like hacks into their database and who's obviously flying stray bees into people's ears and mouth, and like if it goes through any part of your head, ears, mouth, nose, you're fucked. Like, literally. So Park and Coulson try to protect Meads, but an ADI infiltrates and kills her. They get through any small gap of the house. There's fans, there's skylights, there's windows, door handles, keyholes, everything. This person is trying to like fly these ADIs through. So Coulson deduces that the ADIs use facial recognition, and Schoberg reveals that the government uses them to surveil citizens. Meanwhile, the public and news media realize the consequences of #death too. People are starting to realize, like, wow, we really caused some deaths here by posting this on social media, and it's a super controversial thing. It's starting to gain traction. The most mentioned person is now Chancellor Tom Pickering, played by Ben Miles. Park interviews ex-Granular employee Tess Wallander, played by Georgina Rich, and learns that she was found attempting suicide by colleague Garrett Scholes, who's played by Duncan Powell, after receiving online hate, which is a really interesting thing because it's kind of like a villain origin story for this Garrett Scholes guy. Scholes' manifesto is found containing a geotagged image. The dumbass posted a picture of himself and revealed his location, so now they know he's like right by the Granular compound. A raid of this on this location yields Scholes' hacking toolkit. So, as Coulson discovers a file of IMEI numbers of everyone who used #death to, Lee forces Schoberg to deactivate the system. This fails and triggers the ADIs to kill the 387,036 people who used the hashtag. It's fucking crazy. It really spread that quickly. Concluding her evidence, Park indicates that Coulson is believed dead by suicide. However, she later receives a text from Coulson, who has tracked Scholes down in an unnamed country, still following him, still determined to, crack this case and kill this guy. And we don't know. It's obviously left up to people to decide what happened to this guy. And yeah, I don't really have much to say. I think we can kind of get into the review of things, critical reception. I can bounce my ideas off of that. And yeah, it's a pretty good episode. I mean, it concludes Black Mirror's third season on a strong note, effectively conveying the sometimes fatal consequences of online hate through a narrative that is morally complex and cinematically invigorating. I would say it's a pretty solid episode, probably one of the better in Black Mirror, their show run. It's probably the best of probably season 3, for sure. I don't know. It might be in the middle. I'm not really sure what I have to say about it. It's a very strong episode. The episode might be a little too long. I mean, it makes its point very repetitively. The episode was pretty well paced. It didn't drag, I guess. Like, you could be bored. You wouldn't expect a Black Mirror episode to be an hour and a half long, but for an hour and a half, I don't think it was that bad. Hawes used the runtime to give the moral complexity of Brooker's script the breathing space they deserve. Sorry, I got the hiccups. There was agile movement between cerebral sci-fi and emotionally rooted moralizing. The episode was a bit underdeveloped in some places, maybe a bit overdeveloped in others, but it's still pretty solid. I mean, the cast was great. McDonald and Marseille were awesome, as Karen and Blue. They just gave fantastic performances that complemented each other so well, and you really felt the connection between the two, like, as the episode went on. McDonald lays claim to the episode's best lines, having demonstrated much wry comedy. Wong as Lee and Miles as Pickering were great. Scholes being grounded by motivations and something personal was pretty cool. His character was a little less interesting than an unexplored potential for the episode to show how #death to participants act once realizing its effects. The soundtrack was pretty cool. Phipps Keening score. The composition by Lins was beautifully haunting. So it was. The story itself was kind of mixed. The full weight of Scholes' action doesn't register as much as it could. The nasty twist and nicely inconclusive ending was interesting. The episode downplays the massive deaths, but dissented in finding that the ending does not give sufficient resolution for Scholes. We don't see what happened, and that's kind of like a controversial thing that some shows have been seen doing. The episode never figures out exactly what it's critiquing. It doesn't seem very focused enough. I was pretty engaged with the story. The writing was great. It's a surprising facility for the stylized language of pulp crime novels. The episode was clever, ripe with thought. There were some little details that were kind of iffy about it. It was odd that no character attempted to block the air vent during the bee attack. When it seems that characters previously look at the vent, The story remains in the UK despite the hashtag Death2 game not appearing to be limited to the country, obviously. I thought that was interesting how, I guess their production value just doesn't allow them to go to different countries. Just a little small things that I can critique about the show. Really not much, and that's what makes it a pretty good episode, a pretty good installment for the Black Mirror series here. Would I say it's the best? I think White Bear's probably my favorite. I think just like the emotion and like the impact that has on a watcher after you're done with it is amazing. This is definitely up there though. I feel like in terms of season 3, it definitely might take the cake. I think White Bear was in the second season. You had San Junipero this season. You had like the military one. I don't remember the others, but pretty good nonetheless. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I am out. That's going to do it for the content for me today. Probably going to go watch Ozark, go hit the gym, come back. Probably watch the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie before